Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, listening to this Taking AI Beyond the Hype with Unity Catalog webinar. If you're listening live, welcome. Looking forward to getting your questions as we go through this session and interact with our panelists. If you're watching on recording, it'd be great to see your feedback in the comments, whether it's up on YouTube or on our website. I'm very pleased to welcome our panel today, and we'll come on to those introductions in a few moments. But let me sort of set the scene a little bit about Cloudaeon and what we do. Cloudaeon is a specialist system integrator who's been working in the cloud, data, and AI space since 2007. We have a team of just over 200 people who are all experts in everything cloud, data, and AI. We came through an evolution working with big data in the mid 2000s, where we were working with Hadoop extensively. That we still have the scars to prove, and are veterans of many hundreds of installations, many hundreds of upgrades, and supporting enterprise clients around the world. As the market's moved forward, though, we've seen a falling from grace of Hadoop, but there's been some big winners in that area. Things like Kafka and Apache Spark have become de rigueur in the new world of cloud technologies. So we partner very extensively with both Microsoft, particularly around the Fabric offerings, and also with Databricks, which is the main thrust of today's webinar. And particularly, we're going to look into Unity Catalog and how we move customers from the legacy Hive Metastore to fast track their AI readiness using Databricks Unity Catalog. So we have the agenda slide up now. We'll get onto the intros with the panel in a few moments. Key thing for our more technical viewers is that we'll be doing a walkthrough of the accelerator that Cloudaeon has built to accelerate your success and your AI readiness using Unity Catalog. This will walk through directly with the team here, and you also get to see firsthand just how powerful this is in improving your use of Databricks and getting ready to really take advantage of all the new features that are being released and integrate fully with Databricks Unity Catalog. As we go through the session, I encourage you to ask any questions, and we'll have time at the end to do a Q&A and basically ask us anything, and our panel of experts will give you some insights to some of the challenges that you're facing in the real world. And at the end of this, there'll be some options for us to continue our conversation if you think there's enough resonance here for the work you're doing and enough value from what we've created with this Unity Catalog Migration Accelerator. All right, so without any further ado, let's meet our panel. I'm your host, Dan Harris. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at Cloudaeon. Been with the company for over 6 years now, and my role is to really help enterprises get the most out of their data and AI strategy. And I've had the very good fortune to work with a large number of enterprise businesses in a range of different markets, helping them to overcome the challenges of success and being really ready to take advantage of this emerging AI innovation and revolution that's happening in the market. Let me hand across, though, to my more technical colleagues. Firstly, I'll come to you, Nikhil. Would you mind saying a few words to introduce yourself to our audience today?
Hi all, I'm Nikhil Mode, working as a lead data engineer in Cloudaeon. I have 8 years of experience in data engineering field and working on the various data engineering project and also in AI project from last 8 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. We'll hear more from you as we go through this panel debate. Mahir.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing good. So I'm Mihir Kale. I'm working as a data engineer in Cloudaeon, and it's been 5 years since working as a data engineer, and I've been involved in this UC migration project, which we will talk more about in the later slide. Thank you.
Thanks, Mahir. I think there's a nice, short, sharp introduction for both of you. Perhaps selling yourselves a little bit short, though. Both of you are Databricks champions and have gone through a lot of certification and really are keeping abreast of all the latest developments from Databricks, particularly around Unity Catalog, which Mahir, you've just shortened to UC Migration Accelerator. For those who are less familiar with Databricks, UC is the abbreviation for Unity Catalog, and it really is the heart of everything that Databricks are doing as they develop their product to take advantage of this huge opportunity we will have ahead of us for AI readiness. All right, so let's sort of set the scene a little bit about why we're talking today. It seems to be that over the last 2 years, everybody has become an AI-driven business. I think any new software tool coming to the market is saying it has AI embedded. Every business leader I speak to is now saying that they are going to be an AI-driven business. This is no longer a technical conversation. This is a conversation that is being had in boardrooms. We're seeing it in quarterly earnings calls with large enterprises. And in every annual report that we read, we see that AI is front and center in all the messaging. Now, this creates both a huge opportunity, but also a big problem. And that opportunity is to really drive cost efficiencies, add capabilities, and increase capacity through the use of AI. However, it requires people with the right skills to make that really work. And if every business is to be believed that they were going to become an AI first business or an AI driven business, then we're going to face a real skill shortage of expertise in the market. Now, here at Cloudaeon, we've been trying to really solve that problem by investing many years ago into the emergence of Databricks, into the emergence of the Azure stack, and to build centers of excellence to support both of those software technologies. Now, if we look at this really from a perspective of how do we make this live and how do we make this really work and resonate with the audience today, we've already got to look at what the analysts are saying. And according to Gartner, 60% of AI projects fail to scale due to poor data governance. And data governance will be one of the main tenets we discussed with the panel in today's debate. What we can also find is that delays with modern governance can add more than 30% of the cost in reworking and to get compliance ready. That's a huge overhead that most businesses do not want to take on board. And that can be avoided if we use the right technology backed by the right people with the right experience, which I'm very happy to say Cloudaeon's team are more than capable of doing. Now, this risk is that by 2027, Gartner are predicting that it could be 3 times more likely you'll face regulatory penalties if you don't get your data governance into order. All right, so we've heard from Gartner about some of the things that are going to be potentially negatively impacted businesses who don't get their data governance right in the coming years, but there are also some positives as well. But what role does data governance really play in all of this? AI right now is probably the hottest topic in technology, possibly the hottest topic in technology since the birth of the internet and the proliferation of that .com boom. I'd argue that this is bigger even than the big data movement, and AI is going to touch every aspect of how business works. Very sexy to talk about AI, very popular to talk about AI. However, data governance has been around for a long time, and it has an increasingly important role to play within how people are going to take advantage of AI and ensure that they have the right access, they have the right lineage to allow them to build new AI initiatives in a scalable, repeatable, and cost-efficient way. So, enough of me talking about this. Let's go to our panel and see what they think around the need to have data governance really as the bedrock of their initiatives. So, Nikhil, let me come to you first. Let me ask you a question. What happens to AI initiatives when the underlying data just can't be trusted?
Yeah. So I would say if underlying data is not trusted, then it's tend to like a unreliable prediction from AI models. Okay, so if your data is having a inconsistency and garbage, so it will not produce the exact required data. Then it will it will produce compliance risk. If your data is not uh, as per requirement or as per business requirement, it will definitely produce a bad records and compliance risk to your audit or your quality data assurance. Then major thing is cost rise. So if your data is not as per the requirement, at the end you will need to invest your time to data validation and improve data quality. It will again raise increase your cost for your final production. And then finally is slowly adoptions. If you are adopting slowly in your data so AI in your data engineering field or in your business, then it will make your prediction or your data or your business in backward thing. Because if you are because without the AI, no one make a confident on your data or output. So I would say if the underlying data is not trusted, then definitely it will make impact on your final output or business. Yeah.
Understood. I think you covered quite a few topics there. I think I could probably sum that up as sort of garbage in, garbage out, right? If you've got poor quality data, you're going to get a poor quality analytics and AI model on the back end of it. Is that really how to sum this up?
Yes. So if data is poor quality data, if in our data store, so definitely it will tends to uh, invalid invalid report, as well as business user also feeling unconfident about the final output. So it definitely tends to bad for business as well as AI output as well, or AI prediction, I would say.
Yeah, so probably two different things there. I think we've heard over the years that people will not trust data if they get multiple versions of the truth. Which dashboard is correct if the same inputs are giving different numbers. That's probably amplified further with an AI model. If it's making a prediction and the prediction it's making can't be trusted down to poor data governance, that can have a bigger impact. To what extent would you agree with that?
Yes, yes, definitely. It will and it will add more compliance risk as well. Whatever they want at the end, they again need to understand, or they again need to validate at their end as well.
Well, yeah, it's probably twofold there. I think so. You've both got compliance risk and you've got a cost impact as well. So compliance, that's typically viewed into sort of regulations and fines that can go with it, maybe some reputational damage or some delays to completing audits. But the costs one, we're trying to save money by using AI here. We're trying to improve efficiencies. And if teams end up spending time trying to firefight and validating outputs and retraining models, those seem to be fixing downstream issues rather than innovating. And I think that's a risk that a lot of businesses will face if they don't get the data governance and the lineage correct. Ultimately, I think it's about trying to make sure that AI can scale. And to make sure AI can scale, it needs to have trusted data. And that's really where Unity Catalog comes in. Let me go across to you though, Mihir. How critical is lineage and access control for scaling an AI project from pilot and into production? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I would say it is very much critical because lineage gives you visibility to how your data comes from, how it is transformed, and then what models or dashboards are consuming it. So when you are working into a pilot mode, usually we are working into small curated data sets. But when we are going into production, we are dealing with 100 plus tables and models and pipelines. So we really can't trace how a feature is built, and we cannot say what a prediction or how a prediction came out the way it did. So ultimately, it gives us issues to debug the whole thing and everything. So access control is equally important as well. So early pilot projects often work in sandbox environment where they will have open access. But in production, we are dealing with sensitive and financial customer data. So without fine-grained access, you are risking of either oversharing the access or slowing down the teams by rigid access. So together, lineage and access will give you that trust and scalability, and it will, give security teams confidence that sensitive data isn't leaking.
That's a very, very comprehensive answer, Mia. Thank you for sharing that. And I think we touched on a couple of things there around going from pilot environments to production environments. I think you're right. The experience we've had at Cloudaeon is that often in a pilot environment, everything will work absolutely fine. But we're not talking about production level workloads. We're talking about test volumes of data, and that lineage that you have when you put a model to production becomes even more important. We also touched upon the other thing around access control. How important is access control in conjunction with lineage?
So, access control is important in that way as well, because when you are trying to debug an issue, so say if there is a certain issue and when you are trying to debug it, you will need to have access through whole the environment. So again, to debug it into a lower environment. So suppose there is one table which is, changed after we have moved it to production. We will have to go back again, see how it behaves in each of the environment and then check. So for that, you will need access to all environments as well. And then specific access for specific people working on that similar table will be able to debug that issue quite quicker.
Yeah, I think those are all very good points. I think a lot of teams spend a lot of time trying to do that handover from development into production, and debugging becomes a really major part of that. How about the impact of lineage in terms of the accuracy of models that are being built?
So basically, when we are pushing it to production, we are making sure it is as accurate as possible. But there will be some things in which you will understand that it is not working that great in production. So in that case, you will have to again go down to the lower models or whatever the models which are connected to that our final prediction. So at that time, you will get to know how exactly each stage is working, and then with getting to know that, you will be able to fine tune your accuracy more. So yeah, lineage comes in that part, so you will be able to fine tune it more easily, more quicker.
Yeah, I think that's the key part, particularly when we work across an enterprise scaled business where you're running a central data lakehouse structure and you have multiple teams working on it. We often see that there will be 6 or 7 different functional units all accessing the same data sets. Having lineage there allows the business to get a much more holistic view on how their data is being curated, how the data is being transformed, and ultimately how it's being used to train their models to ensure those predictions become as accurate as they possibly can. So that's kind of the role of data governance that access control and lineage has to play, but that's not how people are doing it today. So let's go on to our next slide and let's look at how people are currently doing things prior to having Databricks Unity Catalog, and let's look at some of the challenges that come with that. We talked a little bit about the importance of data governance, but we need to look at how people are doing things today. And we're going to talk a little bit about Hive Metastore, which if you're an early adopter of Databricks, you may already be familiar with. If you've come to Databricks via Hadoop, you're probably going to be familiar with Hive Metastore. It's a legacy technology that's been around for a long time, and that's created some risks around silos and scaling issues. And I'll ask the panel in a few moments to describe what their experiences have been around this migration to Unity Catalog with Databricks. But what I would caution people against is that getting onto the latest version of Databricks, getting Unity Catalog into your business is the key to regaining speed and your competitive advantage. It gives a huge amount of agility and innovation. In fact, every enhancement in the Databricks AI stack is natively tied to Unity Catalog. Staying on Hive means you're missing out on future capabilities by default, and nobody wants that, particularly if you want to be an AI-driven business. Let me ask the panel. Here I come to you first. What risks do you see if enterprise continue to run on Hive Metastore and don't embrace Databricks Unity Catalog?
Yeah. So continuing with Hive Metastore will come with several risks. So first of them will be governance gap. Hive wasn't built with today's security and compliance requirements when it was built. So it cannot do fine-grained access control at column or row level. What it will do is it will just give you access on a holistic view. The second is limited visibility and lineage, what we just talked about earlier. So Hive Metastore won't give you end-to-end lineage. So say it cannot answer a question like what downstream will break if a certain table is changed. So that part it won't be able to work with. So, and the third is scalability and performance constraints. So as number of table grows, managing Hive Metastore will become more and more complex and brittle. So team will often face synchronization issues or maybe inconsistent schema management across environments or something like that.
I totally agree with that, and having spent a good part of my career working with Hadoop, this is a very common problem that Hive Metastore just hasn't scaled to the cloud world we see in today, where everybody's running data and AI, and they want to do it at scale. It's built for a heavy Hadoop on-premise infrastructure, which isn't reflective of most businesses. So we do a lot of work at Cloudaeon, helping people move away from Hadoop on-prem and move across to Azure and Databricks to get the best of advanced analytics and to enable them to build these AI products far more quickly. Nikhil, let me come to you and get your experience around why you think delaying migration is going to impact your ability to compete with other AI-driven businesses. And make no mistake, this is an arms race, right? Everybody wants to be an AI-driven business, so being able to compete is really key. What do you think those delay risks are of failing to migrate?
Yeah, if we are delaying to migrate, then we are like slowing our AI adoption, because Databricks support all whatever the available AI related feature in Databricks, it available in Unity Catalog only. Okay, for example, lineage tracking, then data classification and automated governance. Another thing is we are taking a high risk, because whatever data in our available in our platform, we are not we are not able to govern a granular level. So we are not able to provide access, fine grain access, or not able to support whatever the now compliances for example HIPAA compliance or whatever business required compliances. Another thing is data silos. So if we have a scattered data, so whatever we are able to see in diagram, if we have a multiple workspace, so that time it is hard to governance But what if we have a one single place through that we will govern our whole workspace or multiple workspace in single place, and this will help. And last but not a least, strategic lag. If we are not adopting Unity Catalog, or if we are not migrating from Hive Metastore to Databricks Unity Catalog, then we are not able to use advanced AI feature as well as data sharing feature or federation feature or data classification. So it will like so if we are dealing into the migration, not able to use AI in our project without migration. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very comprehensive answer, Nikhil. Thank you for sharing. And I'd echo that from the conversations that I have with clients all the time. They've invested fairly heavily in their data platforms. They put a lot of effort into doing their data engineering, and they often have some degree of compliance tool that's working alongside that, and they have some impact on data governance. I speak to a lot of people who are saying that yeah, data governance is key, data quality is key, data lineage is key, but they struggle to actually implement that at scale. It really does feel like the Unity Catalog is the way to allow them to do that. And one of the things you picked up on there around data silos, I think we've been trying to break down data silos for a long time. But even on an earlier version of Databricks, where you're using Hive Metastore, you're still facing those data silos. So how much do you think Unity Catalog is going to change the game here? Perhaps you can talk, Nikhil and Mihir, to the slide we can see on the screen. Perhaps look at the left side first about the old way of doing things, and then talk a little bit more about the new way of doing things. Do you want to describe for our viewers what we're seeing on the screen here?
Yeah, Dan. Sure. So, so left side Unity Catalog with a silos means we have a multiple workspace. For example, if we are if we have a mesh architecture and we are using multiple workspace for multiple domain, that time user management or computational power, Metastore, access management for all thing, we need to uh, add, or we need to perform the operation on separate workspace, whatever we want, or data governance as well. But on the right side, we can see Unity Catalog is on the top. We have a Unity Catalog, and under that we have a multiple workspace. So Databricks allow per region one Metastore, and under that Metastore we have a Unity Catalog. So it will make easier to governance on the top level. So whatever workspace or whatever architecture you're following, if you have a one Unity Catalog on the top Metastore, it will govern your whole data journey or data operations. So whatever you want to handle PI data or normal data or operations, AI data as well, or AI operations as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Nikhil. Mihir, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, it pretty much sums up everything. So he explained it like we have multiple workspaces on the left side, and what we are doing is we are putting one Unity Catalog as a single umbrella, which will, try to govern all the workspaces. So you won't be, have the issue to govern each workspace on its own, and we can have that governance and access level in a much pretty easier way.
Great. Thank you. I think both of you have really embraced Databricks, and I can see why you've both become Databricks champions with the eloquence that you describe the as-is situation and the future situation and some of the problems there. Big takeaway for me is speed of innovation. All right, if we want to innovate fast to get competitive advantage, we need to be on Unity Catalog. So let's move on to the next section here, where we can figure out how Cloudaeon can help you through the work we've been doing building the Unity Catalog Migration Accelerator. At Cloudaeon, we're very proud of the work that we've been doing around Databricks, and particularly Unity Catalog. We were early members of Databricks Bricks Builder program, and we built an accelerator initially for one of our enterprise clients, Marks and Spencers, and we'll have a case study around that a little later in this webinar. But to build an accelerator is something which we felt was time well spent, not just to help out one client, but help out many clients, because everybody's facing the same challenge. How do you get from an older version of Databricks where you're using Hive Metastore and on to the latest version of Databricks where you have Unity Catalog handling everything you need to do from a data governance, cataloging, lineage, and account access perspective, and do that in a holistic, shared, manageable, and scalable way, as we talked about on our previous slide. So I'm going to ask some questions to our panel again around why you think this migration tool is so important. So Nikhil, let me ask you that question. Why is migration to Unity Catalog no longer optional for AI-ready enterprises?
Yeah, so for this question, I think it is not an option, it's a mandatory thing if you want to adopt AI or a data governance or a want to quality data in your business. Okay, so you see is a Unity Catalog is a trust to between you, data and business. Okay, so if you have a fine grain access or provide lineage or whatever you want in your data, final data, so it will provide through the UC only. UC is a path to make or create a trust between you and data. Then if you have a Unity Catalog, then your data is compliance readiness. So whatever you want, for example, you want lineage or granular level lineage, not a overall lineage, it's a granular level lineage. Then you want to data classification, handle PI data, or want to proven capability for your data. So definitely UC migration will help. And one last thing from my end, that is a future proofing. If you want your data for future proof or AI ready data in your bucket, then definitely a data Unity Catalog will help to make your desire or a business required outcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Nikhil. I mean, these don't sound like old problems. These problems have been around the whole time I've been in data. How do you get that trust between data teams, technology teams, and the business? Particularly now as we're getting increasing regulation coming in for ESG and for AI, and how that's going to be tied into how the regulators will ensure that people are doing the right ethical things and maintaining the right standards. It sounds like that Unity Catalog is the way that's actually going to solve these time-honored problems, but in a much more efficient and scalable way. Is that your feeling as well?
Yes, definitely. So if you have mesh architecture and you want to communicate with each domain to another domain, that time this will help to manage the governance or manage your fine grain access. For example, if you want to communicate with outer side data as well, like a data sharing or a federation a data or another database outside from your workspace, so that time also you require this data governance to read trustworthy data. So definitely this will help.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right with that, and I would share that vision. It seems to be absolutely clear that not migrating to Unity Catalog is just not an option for any business that wants to be successful as an AI-driven company. But let's talk a bit more around the need to automate this migration and the reason we built this accelerator. So Mahir, I'll come to you. What are the benefits you get from automating migration, and how do they have to deliver value to the team? Is it about speed, reduced effort, lower risk, or some combination of those things?
I would say all three of them. So automation, migration delivers all three: speed, reduced effort, and lower risk. So the real benefit here, what we are talking about it, is reinforcing each other. So for with respect to speed, say we are manually migrating 100 notebooks and tables, it will take a lot of time. But say we automate that process, we can bring that timeline down to few days. So same goes with reduce efforts and lower risk as well. So for efforts, when efforts are concerned, instead of manually refactoring the notebook, replacing the deprecated functions and everything, what we can do is we can automate that process. We can replace it on its own, and then we can just see and commit the issues. That's it. So it will reduce manual efforts as well. And again, if we are automating that thing, uh, we are ensured with lower risk because human intervention is as less as possible.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The more we can automate, the more we can make repeatable, the less time it's going to take, and the lower the risk of making errors as we go forward. Is that the takeaway from what you described?
Yeah, pretty much. So automate as much as you want, and you will have less risk as you go on.
Okay, sounds good. So let's talk about a little bit more around the specific accelerator that we built here at Cloudaeon, because I know both of you guys have been heavily involved with building this and also delivering it for clients in the real world. Do you want to explain for our viewers what we have on this slide here and how our accelerator works?
Yeah. So what you can see on the slide is kind of the pipeline, what the Unity catalog migration does. So the accelerator, what we have built, works in different components. So as you can see on the slide, there is notebook development, automation, metadata driven table migration, job recreation, and parity. So it goes activity by activity. So first, what we will do is we will migrate all the notebooks through a CI/CD process. Then we will create a metadata table, which you can see the legacy table conversion strategy. So what you can see is we will create a metadata table in which we will add all the tables, like the managed tables as well as the external tables. So that is something about legacy table conversion strategy. And finally, we have one GitHub powered notebook scan and updates as well. So as I spoke earlier about the deprecated functions, there are a few deprecated functions which are not so useful in UC. So what we will do is we will have an automated process to replace all those functions and automatically commit it in GitHub. So we will get to know more about it in the demo as well. But yeah, that is the crux what I'm talking about right now. And then finally, once everything is done, we will have unit test cases and validation. So we have an automation process for that as well. But again, it depends on how the client needs it to be. So if it is required to do it manually, so we can totally do it manually as well. So validation and testing will have a human touch, or else we can automate that as well. So it is up to the client.
Okay, so it sounds a little bit of a hybrid approach here. So we can automate a lot of things, but each environment is slightly different, and there's need for a bit of manual fine tuning as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what Cloudaeon is all about, right? We're a people-led business with consultants with deep expertise of working with Databricks, working with these migrations, which makes it a seamless process for our clients. The tool really helps to accelerate that and reduce the amount of cost and man hours involved with delivering a migration to Unity Catalog. You touched upon the point. We're going to go into a demo a little later. I would encourage anybody who's watching along now who has questions about how this can actually work to ask them in the chat here. And when we get to the end of the demo, we'll have a little bit of time to ask those questions of Mihir and Nikhil and get their answers relevant to the challenges you're facing in your environment. So please do put those questions into chat, and we'll come back to those after the demo. Right, before we get on to the demo, let's look at this from a real world example. We built this accelerator initially through our innovation lab, working with Marks and Spencers, who were coming from a legacy version of Databricks, invested very heavily in both the Azure stack and also Databricks, and have used Databricks to drive all of their advanced analytics and AI capabilities. That migration was really important for them to be successful, and we built this accelerator initially for them, say via the innovation lab, and it was 70% time saving in terms of the accelerator that we built. Mihir, I'm going to ask you a few questions on this one, and perhaps you can explain, what were M&S trying to achieve, what was the challenge at the time, what solutions were put forward, and how did that actually benefit their business?
Yeah, sure. So when we first started working with this client, the migration looked really daunting. So they were facing a lot of pain points, like manually refactoring the notebook, manually shifting the tables and everything. And again, the environments were inconsistent for lower environments like dev and QA. And again, they have a different copy for prod. So on top of that, the migration steps were manual. So they were sequential rather than having, running them all at once. So which meant long downtimes and a lot of business risk. So to solve this, we brought in our accelerator. So we took a structured and phased approach. We prioritized the migration for more than 500 pipelines. We used automation wherever we can. We scanned the notebook, we refactored all the notebooks, and integrated CI/CD pipelines just to keep all the environments in sync. And then finally, we ran migration in parallel wherever it is possible. So by doing all this, the results were quite significant. So we were able to reduce the timelines up to 70%. And then most importantly, the client will now have a future ready data architecture on Unity Catalog. So they can scale their AI and analytics ambitions hereafter.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's a really good summation. And we've already seen that M&S have taken advantage of this. They're using the Databricks platform extensively now to support 6 different business functional areas, and they're having a holistic data platform is allowing innovation at a far faster rate than we've seen possible before. So Unity Catalog really has been the key to their success with data and AI, but also the accelerator that we built for them has been a way to shortcut that and ensure they have a good competitive advantage, which in a retail environment where margins are very tight and competition is very strong, having any competitive advantage through acceleration is a good idea. We've heard about the impact we had at Marks & Spencer's, but the proof is in the pudding, as they say, in actually seeing this live. So I'm going to hand across to Mihir, who can do us a walkthrough of a demo of the accelerator we've built, and you can perhaps assess whether that is going to be relevant to you in your business and the challenges that you're facing about migrating to Unity Catalog. As we go through the demo, if there are any other questions, please pop them in the chat, because at the end of this, we'll get a chance to do a little bit of a wrap up and ask the panel any questions that are really burning or keeping you awake at night. So Mihir, let me hand across to you and take us through the Unity Catalog Accelerator demo.
Okay. So what we have done here is we have recorded the demo earlier, just because we don't have to wait for the jobs running and all the waiting time. So I've recorded the video. We'll explain all the components as we go through, and then we will go one by one. So for the first component, as I told you earlier, we will migrate all the notebooks from our GitHub repo directly into the UC workspace. So what you're seeing here is I will create a new branch, something called test migration. Okay. Then I will go to notebooks. There will be one folder called UCX migration. Yeah. Then I will create one test file here. Just create a new file with maybe say test_migration.py or just test migration, and then a comment with test migration. And I will commit this directly to my test branch. Yeah. Once this is committed, then I will have just for the sake of understanding, I will go to the UC workspace again and then show you the file does not exist as of now. So as you can see here on the notebook section, the file is not there. Now I will go again to my test branch and then I will make the pull request. So I'll just go ahead and create the pull request. And once it is created, I will have to merge it with main. It will just take a minute to check if there are any commit issues. Yeah, so once this is done, I'll merge the pull request. And then once it is merged with main, the GitHub Actions activity will start running and it will transfer the file from our repo to the UC workspace. Again, it will take a minute to complete the whole deployment activity. Just for information, right now we have only created one file, but we can do this with 100 or 200 files as well. So the activity will be same. We will just merge it with main and all the files will be transferred. Yeah, as you can see, the file was transferred here and you can see our comment test migration. Yeah, so this is about notebook migration. Now let's move on to table migration. Here I have created 100 tables. Just to showcase, we can migrate all the 100 tables in that specific time as well. So I've created 100 external tables where I have specified a location for our external table. And then, okay, I've already ran the script just to create them earlier. And then I have created one manage table as well. So we haven't specified any location, so it will be created as a manage table. Now we have a job as well, which we need to migrate. We have called it as test migration. We will migrate this job as well into our UC workspace. So totally we will have 101 tables and one job that we will migrate, and we have already migrated all the notebooks. So yeah, now we have already created one job called what was it called? Just a minute. Yeah, it is called UC migration. We will just trigger that job and we will, transfer everything one by one. So now I have forwarded this video. As you can see in the duration, the duration was 9 minutes 42 seconds. So we have just fast forwarded all that 9 minutes. And then I will explain you all the activities. So the first activity here is the UC tables DDL, which I explained earlier. We have created one table in which we have stored all the metadata for all the tables. So right now we have created 100 tables and one managed table. So what we will do is we will get all the metadata for those 100 tables. We will store that metadata into this specific table. So for that specific table, we have just created the DDL here. And once it is created, we will run the next step, which will migrate all the metadata to this. Okay, no, sorry. So the next step is we will migrate all the managed tables to external tables. So right now what we have done here is, if there is any managed table, now first we are converting it into an external table just because we can migrate them into UC workspace. So this is according to the use case. So if you have any requirement to manage it as migrate it as a managed table itself, we can do that as well. But for this specific use case, what we have done is we have converted the managed table into external location, external table, and then we have created an external table for the same name in our UC workspace. So this is what here you can see in this step. So now for all the tables which are already present in that external location, it will just try to skip it and it won't, copy the location. So it won't copy the data again from that location to our external location because it is already there. So we will skip all those tables which you have created for a demo. And then the only one table which we created as managed, it will give us a log that, copying data for managed table migration test v1 into our external location. And if there are any issues, you can get that issues here as well. Also, we will create one same log file. So if you want to go again back and see what issues have happened or not, you can just check the log file and check what tables will have issues and what tables are migrated successfully. So that is all about the second step, migrate managed tables to external table. The third one is then once we have migrated all the managed tables as well, we will store all the DDLs into our first metadata driven table. So here you can see we have created one table in which we will store all the metadata, and you can find all our test migration demo tables we have created, and also our migration table, managed table migration test is also there. So yeah, all 101 tables are present here. And the last step will be to migrate the jobs. So we have created one test job as I showed you earlier. We will migrate that job as well. And again, for the rest of them, it will just skip it because those jobs are already present in our UC workspace. So whatever jobs are not present, it will just try to migrate that job. So what we have done is we have taken the payload for the job which was created. We will tweak that payload according to the requirements what we have. So if there are any cluster requirements for UC, we will tweak that payload into that requirements and then we will migrate it. So right now we have just taken the payload and just changed the cluster and migrated it to UC workspace. And you can see all the other tables are skipped because they are already present. Now you can see the test migration is migrated to our UC workspace. You can see the test migration is there. And let's go to our catalog. The tables won't be present as of now because we haven't created the DDL in UC workspace. We have just copied the data as of now. So you can see the tables are not present. So now what we will do is we will go to jobs again and we will try to run we have already created a job called table creation. We will run that job and whatever tables we have stored in that metadata table, we will create them one by one. So again, I have fast forwarded the job execution time, just that we don't have to wait 7 minutes for this. So once this is completed, again, you will get to see the logs, which tables are created, which tables are already scripted because they are already there. And if the table is created, what is the DDL which it has ran to create the table. So you can see here that for any one table, migration demo 1, you can see the DDL it has ran as this one, the location it has used, and it has successfully created because we don't have any issues right now. So we will just wait till this job is completed. And then we will go to catalog to see if all the tables are created or not. We'll just fast forward it a bit. Yeah, okay, so it has succeeded now. Now we will go to catalog and see if the tables are present or not. It should be present. Let's go to again. So as you can see here, we have now specified the default location. Like we have defined the schema, and on that schema, we have stored all the tables into a default schema. But again, this is as per the requirement. If you want any different schema to store the tables in, if you want few tables to store in different schema and then few tables to go in a different schema, we can do that as well while running the script. So the script can be tweaked according to the requirements. But right now, as we have stored all the tables in default, we will get to know. So our managed table migration test v1 is also there, and our demo tables are there as well. So this is all about table migration. Now what we need to do is we need to replace all the deprecated functions which we are running in non-UC workspace, but right now they are deprecated in UC. So we need to replace them with whatever UC compatible functions there are. So again, we have created one job called notebook scan. We will trigger that job. And what this job will do is it will scan all the notebooks which are present. It will look for all the deprecated functions. And if it has found any functions, what it will do is it will just replace them and commit it directly into a test branch in our GitHub repo, which we saw earlier. So again, I will just keep the duration. You can see it took us 3 minutes or something. Then again, we will directly go to the logs to see if the notebook is already UC compatible. It will just skip all the notebooks that saying it has scanned but hasn't found anything. And if there are any issues in the notebook, issues as in if there are any deprecated functions which are used, yeah, it will show that issues found in notebook this. So this create or replace temp view was applicable in non-UC workspace, but right now going to UC, we have replaced this, or Databricks has replaced this function with only create temp view. So it will just replace that function into this one and directly commit it to our feature branch. So let's go to our feature branch again. Yeah, you can see it has pushed the changes 47 seconds ago. So these are the changes what script has done and not what we have done is not we have done manually. So let's review those changes. Yeah, so you can see it has replaced both the functions it has found in that notebook. There were 2 notebooks having those functions, so it has scanned all the notebooks, found 2 functions, and it has replaced them with whatever the UC compatible functions are. So right now, anyone can just review all the changes and again push it to main, and the cycle will go on. Like once we push the changes to main branch, it will again migrate that whole notebook to our UC workspace, so that we will be ready to run the whole notebook again, which is a UC compatible one. So yeah, we can do the step automatically as well. We can directly commit or merge the changes, but we have been recommended to have some manual validation as well. But yeah, it is again according to the requirements. If we have to directly merge it to main, we can directly do that as well.
Great stuff. Mihir, thank you for walking us through the demo. I think it's always prudent to record these things in advance in case we get a technical glitch, and also we accelerate the timeline of how long these jobs take to run. But it really was a good showcase of what Cloudaeon was built here and how that accelerator is so important to aid the migration to Unity Catalog. I had a few questions come in while we've been going through the webinar, so I thought we'd take a few moments to explain to our audience how you guys have tackled some of the common challenges. The first one we've got has come in saying, how is this accelerator different than UCX, and what are the benefits of using Cloudaeon's accelerator compared to UCX? I don't know who wants to take that, Mihir or Nikhil.
Yeah, I can take that. So the most important benefit I see here is the support. Databricks won't give any support if you are using UCX. So say if you are using UCX, if anything breaks in between, you won't be able to recover it from the Databricks end. So you will have to deal with it on your own. And the other thing is UCX was used to migrate within the workspace. Right now, what we can do is we can also handle cross workspaces. So right now, the demo which I showed is migrating Hive Metastore to a completely new workspace where UC is enabled. So in that way also we can handle it. And again, the support thing, we can provide you full end-to-end support if anything goes wrong.
Okay, thank you for answering that. So, UCX is the native tool for migration in Databricks, if I understand it correctly.
Yeah, it is a native tool in Databricks.
And the key difference here and the benefits for the audience here is the support you get from Cloudaeon working through it.
And yeah, the support as well as the cross workspace migration.
Okay. Yeah, very, very, very useful. I think anybody who's had to try doing migration themselves will know it is rife with pitfalls to overcome. It was a very manual process, I know, when we first looked at it before we built the accelerator. All right, let's go on to our second question. Can we migrate different components as well as tables and jobs?
Yep, I can take this as well.
Thanks,
So definitely we can migrate other components. Just for this demo and the use case, whatever we have experienced it, we had the requirement to migrate jobs, tables, and the metadata and everything. So if there is a requirement to migrate other components, we can migrate materialized view as well, because at the end we have a location for materialized view. So we can implement all those steps, whatever we have explained, and we can migrate the same way for other components as well.
Good, thank you, Mihir. Is there anything you want to add to that, Nikhil?
Yeah, so for migration component, yeah, there is a multiple thing available in Databricks, for example, data lake table and all things. So same thing we can migrate through our tool, and whatever the new feature coming, like a metric, that there is a multiple new features available in Databricks. So that component also we can migrate through our tool.
Good. All right. Well, I think we've probably got time for one final question, and that one is how do we deal with existing permissions where they are already in place?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Nikhil. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you, Nikhil.
I can take that. Yeah. So migrating from Hive Metastore permission or whatever the security features of security things available in Hive Metastore, it's quite difficult to migrating from Hive to Unity Catalog. For that, we can have multiple ways. First is we can create our own new fine grain access I would say like a structure. So through that we can leverage Unity Catalog each and every features. Okay, because Hive Metastore doesn't have that fine access grain or a granular level features. So we can leverage Unity Catalog latest feature, which through which we can provide a governance or whatever whatever the features available. Another thing is if we can leverage Databricks provisioning feature. So through that we can leverage the whatever access available in service provider or Azure AD. I would say, for example, Azure AD. So whatever the groups or whatever the access control available in Azure side, we can fetch same as it is in our Databricks. Then we can leverage service principal as well. So this kind of security feature we can take a leverage from from this feature. But yeah, so moving from same thing as it is in Unity Catalog, as of now, it's not possible.
All right. Okay. Good. So I think that's a really good wrap up for everything we've been for the Q&A. If you have more questions, please reach out in the comments, and we'll try and answer those during the recording. We're out of time now to run through any more for the live session. So to just conclude what's next, I think the takeaways are on the left side of the screen here. Note migration, table metadata, table conversion, job migration, full audit and tracking results in total time saving. So accelerating your Unity Catalog migration is really key. Now, if you want to find out more about how you can do this, there's a number of ways you can get in touch. You can scan the QR code that's on the screen now, and that will allow you to get more information around the accelerator. There's a video tutorial on there and a series of other resources resources which you can use to take advantage of what you've learned from today's webinar and apply it to use cases. If you think this is something you actually want to get some help with, though, then you can book a one-to-one session with our experts, Nikhil, Mihir, and the whole team behind them in our Databricks Center of Excellence are all here to help you ensure you experience a seamless migration to Unity Catalog, and you really then are on the right path to being ready for your AI-driven future. So let me conclude by saying thank you to Mihir and Nikhil for your insights here. Thank you for sharing the answers to our viewers' questions, and for all the work you've done in building this accelerator and sharing how it's benefited companies like Marks and Spencer's. I've been Dan Harris, and I will see you on our next webinar. If you want to reach out at any point, you can get me on LinkedIn, or you can go to Cloudaeon's website and get in touch with us there. So hopefully we'll see you in the real world rather than in this virtual world. So thank you very much for everybody for your time today. It's been a pleasure to host everybody this afternoon.